Hello and welcome to the KNGNetwork.com Coaches Show here in Nicholas County. I'm Philip Smith and I'm joined here with High School Athletic Director and Football Coach Robert Hopkins. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing all right. You?
I'm all right, especially after last Friday's game. How'd you feel about that?
A lot of people, probably Saturday, I'd say I got 40 or 50 texts from Friday night late until Saturday night late. Congratulating us on the win. It was good for the community. It was good for the school system. Me as a coach, a game's a game. It felt good beating Fleming County. It felt good coming back, down 20 in the fourth quarter. But more so, I was satisfied to see my kids finally play hard and learn what competing meant, and I felt we did that because, Fleming County was really the most superior team, even though we won it on the scoreboard. My kids never gave up. They were competing on every snap of the ball, and that's what you're looking for as a coach. You're looking for kids that's going to compete. We'd all like to have kids that are going to go to the D1 level, but that's not necessarily the case. You're looking for a bunch of kids that's going to compete. And we did it the other night, so I was more or less excited about my kids competing than I was anything else.
How did you feel about your seniors?
They stepped up to the occasion, but especially Caleb. Caleb had a big night, but a lot of people want to say it was the Caleb Pope show. It's not the Caleb Pope show. There's got to be 10 other guys out there at one time to help him get those yards. And the seniors stepped up. They know this is their last go around, last time they're going to play Fleming County, and they stepped up to it. And Chris Morgan had a big night. Offensive line, defensive line for us. But some of the other classmen stepped up too. There wasn't anybody any more important in that game, in the last few minutes of the ball game, than Jake Kirby, a big junior offensive and defensive lineman we had. He came up in the fourth quarter alone with 4 sacks. So, but the seniors did well. But it's team effort.
How do you, looking back at that game, it was a close game. It was a nail-biter. And for all of you that watched at home and all of you were actually there, you know that the crowd erupted. And the crowd, you could feel the atmosphere. You could feel how the team, when they were down, the crowd was down. And then when they were up, it was amazing. What do you think they brought away from the win? Even though it's a win, it was close.
Well, the week before, we were on the up end and lost the ball game in the last few minutes. This week we came back from behind. It wasn't really close until probably the last 5 or 6 minutes of the ball game. So the crowd really didn't have much to get into until the last 4 or 5 minutes of the ball game. One thing it should teach these kids is as long as you play hard, and as long as you are competitive, and you give an effort on every snap of the ball or every play of the quarter or whatever it may be, you're going to give yourself a chance. You're going to create opportunities. We created opportunities the other night. Did Fleming County kind of go too much into a conservative role in the last few minutes? They probably did, because there's a couple times all they had to do was pitch it to the outside, and I don't know if we'd still tackle them or not. But, they didn't. Us playing hard gave us an opportunity, and that's what I hope our kids get from it. Now, are we living too much on the high this week from Fleming County? I think so, because today's Wednesday and today's your hump day, and Monday and Tuesdays are very important in practice schedule, especially when you only got one game a week. Monday, we didn't do much. Yesterday, we've got some that are nursing some injuries. John Lee Allison's banged up with the shoulder, and Ethan Smith's banged up with the knee. They didn't practice any Monday or Tuesday, and I'm just hoping to get them back. But the mood in the locker room and on the field is we were happy with that victory, and if we're just happy with that victory, then we're going to have a long year, because we're not talented enough to go out there and just show up and win the ball game. We've got to work our tails off, and we haven't done that so far. So, it was a great victory, but I hope our team lets it go through one ear and out the other. It's over. That game's over. We're 1-1. It's time to get ready for the next one.
Looking at West Carter, knowing how they played against other teams in the region, how do you feel going into this week? You think
it's going to be a battle, guys? You got to go to West Carter. They beat us 2 out of the last 3 years. They run that wing team. They run the belly series. It's deceiving. If you do not have your keys right, if you're not disciplined on defense, they're going to beat your butt. Because that wing tee, it's easy to prepare for, but you got to be disciplined with your job assignment. And the last 2 years we had And a lot of the kids that was on those teams were key starters for us 2 years ago when we played West Carter up there, and it was a nail biter. You know, one of them is Caleb Pope. Yeah, he's our big star, but up there when he was a sophomore, he didn't have his keys on defense, and guess what? They burned him for 2 touchdowns, and that was the decisive points that cost us the game. Same thing out here last year. You know, they lost 16 seniors from last year's team, and they wound up at one time being ranked 12th in AAA. They got a couple of those players back that was a part of that good team they had last year. They had a real good team last year. Number 3 was a running back last year. They moved him to quarterback. Number 10 is just as good as a receiver we're going to see. Now they're inexperienced on the offense and defensive line, but you go to West Carter, you go to Olive Hill. If you don't have it tied on and you're not disciplined in your job assignments, anybody can beat anybody. So I don't go by what Bath County did to them and what Fleming did to Bath. And we did I'll be quite honest with you, those guys over at Bath County, good friends of mine, I'll still say it today, they were the better team than Fleming County, even though Fleming won 56-14. Bath just shot themselves in the foot and didn't play a little bit of smart football.
Great. You mentioned Allison's out. Who all is actually on our injured list this week?
John Lee Allison is, he's questionable. He's got a bum shoulder. It's something that he can play with. It's just, when you got a separated shoulder, it's, I guess the main thing there is how high is your pain tolerance. And Ethan Smith has got a strained MCL in his left knee, same way with him. Both of them have been released to play Friday. It's just how much they can take during that game. How high is their pain tolerance. I've had kids in the past with separated shoulders that would pop out 2 or 3 times a game. They'd go over, pop it back in place, and go back and never miss a play. Now, I wouldn't want a kid doing that, but, the injuries that they got is not going to keep them out of the ball game. It's just how they're going to be able to handle their pain tolerance.
Looking forward to this week's game. Are you all doing anything special in practice to get ready for West Carter?
We haven't been able to practice. Mondays is always film day and conditioning day. Tuesdays usually fundamental day. And yesterday we had 3 starters, 4 actually, that wasn't at practice. One was sick at home. The other 2 were injured, and another one had some death in his family, couldn't be there. And when you try to fill in with some younger ones, it's not as smooth. So we got to really pick it up today and really work hard today. It's going to be a long day today for us in practice. But no, we're not changing nothing. We believe in that KISS method with this team right here. Keep it simple, stupid, and that's what we're going to do.
During the game, you all gave an award to the school gave an award to one of the players of Fleming County, Clark.
It wasn't a school. Several years ago, Nicholas County, a bunch of football guys that played here, started what they call Football Alumni Association, and I was a part of that and helped starting it and everything. And we kind of joined it in with Carlisle High School, because you look back throughout the history, even though it's community here, they eat and sleep football. Walk down go down the streets or whatever, you always see somebody with a football shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
But the football tradition here started in Carlisle High School, not Nicholas County High School, and that's where a lot of good football players had been, was at the Carlisle Musketeers, and over the years Nicholas County too. So we started the Nicholas County Carlisle Football Alumni Association, and this year we put 3 individuals in. One was Asbury McGuffey, that played for Carlisle High School. Was one of the very few first African Americans that got to be nominated first team All-State. Also, his son David McGuffey, which I had the honor to play with in high school, went on to play at Notre Dame, and we put those in. And last week, their family couldn't be here when we had our Hall of Fame game, and we knew we played them the week before, so we decided to hold off Emory Clark, and that's who we recognized. And Emory Clark started Carlisle High School and went on to start at the University of Kentucky and played under the legendary coach Paul Bear Bryant. Emory was also one of the main figures in that, probably one of the, still today, the biggest victory Kentucky football has ever had is back when they upset number 1 Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. Emory Clark scored 2 touchdowns in that game and was Cotton Bowl MVP.
51 Cotton Bowl MVP. I believe that was his grandson that played for him.
Number 3, Cole Clark. Number 3 for Fleming County, Cole Clark was his grandson. And so, we were glad to honor him. and all the contributions that Emory has done for Fleming County football and plus Nicholas County football. But we was also glad to break Cole's heart at the end of the game too.
For all those watching at home, or for Wes Carter, if they're watching, anything they need to know? Anything you want to say to Wes Carter as they're watching right now? Because I'm sure they're watching the Coach's Show.
Wes Carter is great people. Kevin Brown's a real good friend of mine. We went to college together, and get ready for some exciting football. It's going to be a knockout, drag out, and anytime Wes Carter and Nicholas get together, there's going to be some hitting going on. So let's hope we can, continue the streak that we finished up the other night, because this bunch of kids that I got right here, if they can get their attitude right and we can avoid injuries, we can build on what we did last year. Last year, guys, we finished 6-4. The only opponents that we lost to were top-ranked teams. Number 3, number 4, number 7 in Class A. It was 3 of the losses, and number 12 in AAA. And we had a chance to win all of those. It wasn't like we weren't in the ball game. And this bunch of kids here, like I told them before the game, last year's success, a lot of you that was a part of that are still in this locker room. What seniors we lost were valuable to us, but a lot of the success that we had was because of you guys in this locker room. And it's time for you to be leaders like the seniors were last year. And if the seniors can step up and be good leaders and work by example. Being a leader doesn't mean holler, come on guys, let's pick it up, we're looking sloppy. It's not being a leader. Because when you're hollering and telling those guys that, and they look and say, well, you're walking through that drill yourself, you're kind of contradicting yourself. So if these guys can step up and be leaders and work and show by example, then this team right here can hopefully crack top 10 in the Class A and can do some damage in the playoffs. But on the other side of it, if that leadership's not there, if they don't lead by example, you may not have a winning record. So that's simple.